Hello, everybody, and welcome to Three Airs AMA. It is a week before the Christmas, and we are here again, like every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Central European Time. And of course, we are happy to have you here. If you are with us, do write down in the comment section, say hello, say where you are, what you are doing. We are really happy that you are a part of our community. If you are not a part of our communities yet, then please check out Discord, Telegram, and Twitter. We are there, and you are welcome, of course, to join anytime. Anita Mlakar is my name. I am the host of this AMA, and I'm really looking forward to this one because, of course, Sandi Bitenc, the CEO of 3Air, will be with us. And we have also special guests coming up. One is still a secret guest, but in a couple of minutes, you will also know who is with us. You have, of course, an opportunity to ask questions or write comments in the comment section. Use also this opportunity in our communities. We are also there answering your questions, but today you have the opportunity to do this alive. Now, what we always do at the beginning is, of course, a short introduction of our project, of what 3Air is doing, and this is what I will do now. So, connect Africa cities with a fast and stable internet connection and become the first fully decentralized telecom platform is the world in the world is the goal of 3Air. We are connecting the unconnected, and once people have an internet connection, we can provide them with digital identities. Then we can bank the unbanked. We are giving them a wallet, and this is all through a blockchain. The next step is providing financial services. We have fiat onboarding and offboarding, RAM, and peer-to-peer cash crypto onboarding, DeFi. We are working on microloans and yield farming. Our outside partners will provide additional digital revenue streams. And once we put people through all those steps, they're connected, they're banked, and empowered. All this time, we're also educating people because we think that education is very important, and that's the real empowerment. So this is a short introduction of what we are doing. And now it's time, of course, to invite the one and only CEO of 3Air, Sandi Bitenc. Hello,
Hello.
Sandi.
Hey, Anita.
Hey.
Yeah.
Like I said before, you have a special glow today. Yeah, that's
There I
it.
am.
There you are. Hello, Sandi, and welcome
You
to
also have
Slovenia.
a special glow, you know. You also have a special glow.
Yeah, and what did you say that I have?
You have like the horns there.
Thank you, thank you.
Angel. Today's angels and devils.
Yeah, of course. We could talk about who's the angel and the devil, but maybe we'll do that next time.
When you
Sandy,
sing, we can talk about it when you sing.
okay. But in a way, we are all angels, you know. This is a special time of the year. This is the first reason. And the second, we're doing good things also, very important things. And I think angels are the ones also doing nice things. And let's just stay with angels, okay? Sandy, welcome to
Absolutely.
Slovenia, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Just arrived. Just
Yeah.
in time to start the AMA.
Yeah. Was it a tough way or what was it?
It wasn't as bad. It was quite okay. So we started at we woke up at 5 a.m. a bit yeah at 5 a.m. and then the flight here. I thought I would need to do the AMA on the way because there's also the way from Vienna where we landed to Slovenia. But we were just in time, like literally, opened up the door to the apartment and then jumped on the AMA.
Okay, I'm just reading the comments. I'm sorry. Sandy Claus, someone is writing that there is Sandy Claus and Angel Nita. Oh my God, how innovative. Sandy, did you manage to make the tree in this 2 hours since you have this Christmas
That's
tree?
not my tree. So we don't have an apartment here. So we're in our Airbnb and yeah, set up a Christmas tree. Very nice. We were really surprised.
That is nice, really
Mhm.
nice. Sandy, we have special guests today, and I'm really looking forward to that. But before that, we have a special announcement. Since we will be giving away something today, will you tell us more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So previous time we had some guests in from Illuvium from the game. You remember, right?
Yes.
So today we'll be giving away 50 private passes to their beta version of the game. So the game is not live yet, not public. So only you can just play it just by being invited, and we're giving away 50 invitations, and there will be 10 invitations given away for the next 5 days. So every day at let's see, we'll try and do the draw every day at 4 p.m. UTC, 5 p.m. CET. So at the same time as we have, or let's do it 6, because today we're also going to do it at just by at the end somewhere or somewhere in between. And there will be some, there is one piece missing to it. And we'll go through it exactly what you need to do to to enter into the draw. But before that, let's tease a bit. Let's tease a bit because we have a video just to we've talked about the gaming and the crypto space, in the blockchain space, and we said the problem really is that there are no real games that would be fun enough to play, that people would be playing them, if there would not be money involved in it. So, this is the games that we are waiting for, and let me just show a quick video.
Okay.
Illuvium is building the world's first interoperable blockchain games, including Illuvium Overworld, Arena, and Zero, where you can play and own your assets across multiple video games. Illuvium Overworld is a free-to-play, open-world collection game available on PC and Mac. Explore a shattered world, collect critical resources, and capture mysterious alluvials to become the most dominant ranger in Illuvium. Avoid deadly hazards as you search for valuable resources that your drone collects. These resources include shards to capture alluvials, gemstones to craft and upgrade gear, and consumables to boost your ranger and alluvials. Illuvium Overworld presents the exclusive challenge to battle and capture alluvials. You must enter an encounter and defeat the opposing team to try to capture an alluvial. If you achieve victory, you can battle your new alluvial in the arena or sell it on the Illuvidex, our official market exchange. Enhance your kit, armaments, drone, and alluvials in order to overcome more challenging battles in higher stage regions. Craft and upgrade your helmet, jetpack, boots, and weapon to better traverse the overworld. Forge more powerful armaments and armor to battle in the arena, and don't forget to upgrade your drone. Your goal is to capture rarer and more powerful alluvials to climb the leaderboard. Free-to-play players can fully experience Illuvium Overworld's breathtaking gameplay. Yet, they will not be able to access higher stage regions that require fuel to enter. Fuel is acquired by developing your land in Illuvium Zero, or simply purchase fuel on the Illuvidex. The choice is yours. To experience Illuvium Overworld for yourself, register for access at play.illuvium.io/overworld.
Wow, it looks awesome.
It does,
really
right?
does.
It
Yes.
is. So we don't need to explain Illuvium now. People saw it, and maybe our guests can comment a bit more, because they're far more into gaming that us two are. We're more into the internet providing, but every such game needs an internet connection, so it
Yes.
doesn't go without. And we are giving away 50 passes for the overworld and for the arena, so for both of them.
Okay.
And me just maybe quickly share uh, the screen so that people know where to enter. And you can enter on app.3r.io. So we'll also display this in on the screen.
Okay.
Let me share.
And I see all the comments that you are writing. Thank you. And oh, they're all thrilled. Super cool. Absolutely looking good. The in-game demo looks fantastic. This is great. Are the comments that are coming in.
Yeah, it is for sure. So this is where you enter. You need to go to app.3r.io and then you click on enter giveaway. You'll need to connect your wallet. And what you need to do is you need to follow 3R. So you need to follow us on Twitter and on Telegram. You need to follow Illuvium on Twitter. Not on Telegram. You need to follow them on Twitter, and then you need to retweet the Illuvium link and the 3R link. And here are the tweets in the resources for the Twitter. Yeah, so here the Twitter post to retweet and the Illuvium post to retweet. So you need to retweet those two posts, and you need, of course, to watch the AMA that you're in right now. And then once you're ready, there is a form below here. I already just tested it out, and you'll need to enter a few more things. And then we're giving the AMA live code during today's AMA. We're not saying exactly when, but we'll give it during today during the AMA.
Okay, so you have to do it like in the next 30 or 40 minutes if you want to be a part of the draw today for the first 10 places.
Yes, and then we'll also have it directly. So the draw will be done directly in the app. So we have a random generator that'll just randomly pick pick 10 winners, and by the end of the AMA, we'll pick 10 today, and then tomorrow at 5 p.m. UTC, we'll pick another 10, and then the day after. So in the next 5 days.
Sounds great. Thank you, Sandi. Now it's time, of course, to invite our guests because we will be talking about gaming today. A very interesting subject, and they know so much about it. And I cannot wait to hear more also about them. So first, let me invite our first guest, Alice Anangi, founder and CEO of Crimson's Digital Group. Let's say hello and welcome her in. Hello, Alice.
Hi, Anita. Hi, Sandi. It was so cool to actually check out the game. Looks really, really awesome. Illuvium game, yeah.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. Alice, we are really happy to have you here today. Thank you for taking the time. And of course, to be able to give us more information about gaming. And we will talk about it in the next, let's say, 50 minutes. So it's really nice to have you here. And we have said that we have a surprise guest, and now I think it's time to reveal who this surprised guest is. So I would also like to invite him in. He is a game thinker, a tech innovation consultant, a community builder, a serial entrepreneur, and so on and so on. Dagmawi Bedilu de Gefe, and here he is. Hello.
Hello, Anita. Hello, Sandi and Alice. Nice to see you, everyone. Nice to see everyone here. And yeah, it is a great pleasure to actually be here and talk about games and the future.
Yes, I'm really looking forward to that. First, let's start with a short introduction from both of you. So, Alice is a technology entrepreneur and the champion of emerging technologies, blockchain, and digital asset adoption in Africa, and whose career spans over 12 years in the technology space. Please, Alice, could you tell us more about yourself?
Hi, everyone. So I'm Alice Anangi, founder and CEO of Crimson's Digital Group. So Crimson's focuses on digital assets training, capacity building, and management, and it's the first platform in Africa that does this. So we have different models that we look at. The first one is training and capacity building, and we've actually tried to make it as fun and interactive as possible through the gamification aspect of it. So our academy is actually an intersection of the learn to earn and play to earn model. So where students actually get to learn courses from a complete beginner level, they get to level up and understand as we teach them and progress them through, the blockchain and crypto and decentralized finance and NFT space. So these courses have tests that have actually been turned into games. Yeah. So you learn a particular aspect of a content that teaches you a particular task. You answer certain questions within the platform, and they're gamified. Yeah, very interactive. You do puzzles. You connect tree diagrams, and there's a timer that actually rewards you as you progress through your learning journey. Yeah. So, and at the same time, we've also linked P2E ecosystem. So we have games, crypto economy games through our Discord channel. And these games actually teach you particular aspects of the digital currency ecosystem. So you get to play them, look at them like Monopoly, yeah, because it's all about economy. Yeah, you need to understand it's game theory and it's economy. What's the right time to purchase businesses? What's the right time to actually sell businesses? What's the right time to actually go to work, take responsibility and accountability when you're holding actually assets in your wallet? Because our thought process is this is actually the best way to actually accelerate adoption of blockchain and crypto assets and basically digital assets from a broad perspective, in the entire globe. Yeah. The biggest challenge that users usually experience, especially new users who are coming into the blockchain space, is there is too much content. It's difficult. I really don't understand how to, learn everything that's there. We have 18,000 different assets. We have thousands of different protocols. Where do I start? Yeah. And for someone who is completely new, this can be very overwhelming. Yeah. And too much information can actually even paralyze them, and it can be quite intimidating for them. Yeah. So we've tried to make it as simple and as fun and as interactive as possible so that people can actually enjoy the learning process through the gamification aspect of it. Yeah.
Very interesting. Alice, how did you get into this space?
Well, my journey has actually been 5 years. Yeah. So prior to joining the Web3 space, I was actually an entrepreneur in a leading telecommunication equipment vendor company. And I actually got to interact with clients from a perspective of introducing new technology to them. Yeah. And which is where I come to explain the fact that working with multiple teams makes you exposed to the fact that you might be a techie, you might understand the technology, from a technical perspective, but that doesn't necessarily mean that everyone else understands it. But you have to make them understand it in the simplest way possible. Yeah. So when I left the telecommunication space 5 years ago, but I had already gotten training in blockchain, Web3, emerging technologies, actually the fourth industrial revolution that's coming now to revolutionize how people will work, will interact, how, the fintech space is going to transform. And I resonated with Web3 technologies. And the biggest challenge I notice is how, there will be so many people and so many users who would want to participate in this technology. Even institutions to transition into Web3 will be a very huge challenge if there is no bridge. Yeah, if there is no institution that works as a bridge, especially to build capacity and to train both individuals and institutions on the right way to actually transition. Yeah, so that's how my journey began. I actually began as an educator, right? So as I was teaching myself and learning, I also transferred my knowledge to different people, different institutions. And basically it was during the COVID time when COVID struck. Yeah, people were not going to work. It was work from home. And, the emerging technologies came now as a solution to actually solving the problem of, the future of work and businesses shutting down. Yeah. So I got a lot of inquiries on training and capacity building. And that's how I also got to empower myself and actually become the best and learn so much about it, learn the challenges, and now build a product around the challenges that actually I noticed that individuals and institutions were experiencing in as far as transitioning to Web3 is concerned.
Wow, thank you, Alice.
Thank you.
Dagmawi, I already said about you that you are a game thinker, a tech innovation consultant, community builder, a serial entrepreneur. And before we talk about Ethiopic Game Association, on your website, you have written, if you are wondering about what I do for a living, and yes, we are wondering, could you tell us more about that?
Thank you, Anita, again for that awesome introduction and like a very enticing question. Let me start off where Alice stopped, because like Alice was mentioning a couple of things. Like she was talking about gamification, and she was mentioning about game theories and about like rewards and like scaling up, leveling up, and these are the concepts that were mentioned. And almost in all our public conversations, there is a continuously recurring theme, and we always say that games are the highest form of art. And a lot of people like ask us like, how can you be bold enough to claim that games are really the highest form of art? And actually, we have a very perfect argument for that. So imagine, for example, you go to a gallery and there is a group of paintings on the wall, right? So what do? You just observe, and we call it a passive observer. Like you just stand there, look at the painting, and maybe try to contemplate what the painter was thinking while painting that specific artwork. If you go to a concert, what do? You stand in the crowd and you just listen, right? So still, that's what we call a passive audience. If you go to a cinema, what do? You sit down and you observe, you watch the movie. And if you look at in any other art forms, one thing that keeps on recurring is you are a passive audience to something that's being unveiled in front of you, whether it's in a visual format or in a like audio format or a combination of any of both. But in games, now something different happens, because in games you don't have an audience. In games, what you have is a gamer, and we call a gamer a co-creator. For example, as a game designer, as a painter, all I have to do is express myself on a white canvas and say I'm done. But if you are a game designer, you'll never be done after making the game. You'll only be done when people start to play it. And you're always thinking when you're making the game about how people would be playing it and express themselves in it. So that's why we say in games, gamers are co-creators. They make the whole art full. And until the first decade of the 2000s, this privilege was only given to gamers. I grew up as a gamer, and as a gamer, what you have is you're welcomed into this huge world, and you can do whatever you want. You can slay dragons, you can dance, you can steal, you can cheat, you can do a lot of things, right? But this was only a privilege that was given to the gaming community and gamers. But what happened in the 2000s, like after the millennia, is people started asking, why only gamers? And the beauty of technology and the whole information age was it was democratizing everything. So one of the things that was being democratized was this quality, this specific quality that was only given to gamers. And now, like you look at social media, for example, on Facebook, a lot of people don't consider Facebook as a game, but it's one of the greatest gaming platforms ever developed, because you take part in it, you post whatever you want in it, you share, you comment, you like, you get likes. Now we have influencers. Influencers are technically the gamers of the social media. And whenever we talk about the metaverse or the Web 3.0, what we did is we just made games accessible by everyone. We made live a game. And that's why it's always hard for me to explain what I do or what our communities do whenever we're asked the question, what do you do for a living? And we say, we make games. And a lot of people have the misconception of saying, oh, like video games. And we say, yes and no at the same time, because we're not only addressing uh, video gamers, but actually we're making games for almost everyone. As a matter of fact, we always say we don't make games for kids. Kids don't, they can play with whatever they have. They are already gamers by default. We make actually games for grown-ups, grungy, gruely, like angry adults, to make their lives better and more enjoyable in a way. So that leads us to the whole notion of game thinking. Whenever we say game thinking or a game thinker, imagine yourself playing Mario or any game, and inside a game, whenever you face a dragon, what do? You run towards the dragon. Like that's the only way, right? You run towards the dragon. But imagine in real life, if you face a dragon, what do? You run the hell away from that space, right? So whenever we talk about game thinking, is this is a special privilege that is to be given for gamers, which is being okay with failures and continuously trying to think things to become the better version of ourselves. And that's what we call a game thinking. And inside of it, it has playful design, gamification, simulation. For example, think of a pilot. You don't just give a pilot a key and ask them to fly a plane. They have to go into these simulators, which are games by design, and they have to train in simulators before they become pilots. So this whole arena of making the people find their better version, we call that game thinking. And whoever actually reached that place, we call it the whole space. We call it a game thinking or a game thinker space. I don't know if that's clear enough.
Yes, wow. Yes, gaming and games as an art. Maybe this comment is exactly to the point to what you were saying. We are in an era where all the pioneers of gaming community are now adults and still playing and buying their own games. Was written by Raiden. So yes, this is what you were actually talking about. Alice and Dagmawi, maybe this is a question for both of you. If we are talking about gaming, let's now talk about gaming scene in Africa. How do you see it? Alice, maybe.
I see we have good strides, especially when it comes to gaming companies that are really trying to build culture-centric games that can actually educate the rest of the world on the African culture. I do see good strides in East Africa. I also see good strides from South Africa in as far as creating VR experiences, and also building games that are moving onto the metaverse. However, one thing that I always mention, especially every time I engage with the gaming community and basically even the Web3 ecosystem in general, is we need to be more impact focused. Yeah. So as much as we are creating these beautiful experiences, we also need to really build solutions that are solving problems that are actually in the ground, yeah, here in Africa, that can, create opportunities, that are aligned with the sustainable development goals, that are really impact driven, that can revolutionize lives, that can create multiple opportunities for the youth. Yeah, because we have quite a number of challenges in Africa that we know blockchain and Web3 and gamification actually comes to solve, right? If we build and we build in the right way. So we've seen so many projects in the past build from the ground up, but eventually they end up failing because of the lack of the impact aspect of the particular project. Yeah, because here we will have situations where people just want to join your platform. Probably if they're gaming and playing a game, they just want to make the money out of it, maybe from the token or from the NFTs, and after a while they're out of it. Yeah, especially now when we come to see we have seasons of bulls and we have seasons of bears. Yeah, and we understand very well that during the bear season is when now majority of the projects that are not impact focused, that don't have sustainability in the long run, end up failing. Yeah, so we really really need to model solutions that solve real world problems from my perspective. Yeah. And I think we will see more of this coming next year, because I see also a lot of support from international organizations, from NGOs, even directed to gaming, the gaming ecosystem, especially now moving to the metaverse, and the different aspects now of creating this fully immersive experience that also brings e-commerce, financial transactions on the platform, that basically creates now this new economy for users to interact on a peer-to-peer level. Yeah. So I hope to see much bigger and better gaming projects come next year. Yeah.
So let's say gaming with purpose. Dagmawi, do you agree with that?
As a matter of fact, that's a very interesting phenomena that's happening in Africa. And I had the privilege of being a speaker at the African Games Week, which was actually only like 3 weeks ago. I think in the first days of December, I was holding Cape Town, and these were like people from all walks of life across the continent, who have studios, who are publishers, who came together like for a week to talk about games and share their experiences. And it was a very interesting scene. And like what whenever we talk about the gaming scene, especially in the West, we know it's the biggest entertainment industry in the world, like bigger than all the music industry. When it comes to Africa, we're not there yet, but it has its own different qualities. For example, like if you come to Africa, Africa is, as most of you are already familiar, it's a mobile continent, meaning we got connected to the internet during the smartphone era. So a lot of gaming happens not on a console per se, or a gaming PC, but rather on a smart device, a smartphone or a tablet. And this is a common phenomenon. Like you can see a lot of studios, gaming studios coming up. They tend to focus and tend to target this specific demography. And also, like whenever we talk about esports is a huge phenomenon in Africa, especially recently. And also, like more mobile gaming esport competitions happen compared to, let's say, the West. And also, like mobile payments are by far the biggest in Africa, like compared to any other continent. So because of this some seamless transaction, people tend to prefer to game on mobile phone. So that's one characteristics when it comes to the African gaming scene. Another special thing, and Alice was mentioning it, is in general we divide games into two big categories. So we have games for entertainment. This is what your typical indie and AAA games that are made. Not like I don't consider it to be like it's a debate for a whole like for another time. But I have no. I love games for entertainment because they are the best stress reliever. Like we play games to kind of having after a hard work day. Like you have maybe like a stack up pose like that been like insulting you the whole day, and you go home, you turn on your PlayStation and you play a game, and you have this sense of empowerment, autonomy, and mastery, and this sense of like stress reliever. And games are by far are one of the most powerful stress relieving tools out there. So I still consider that as impact, but in general, in the gaming context, you have games for entertainment and games for impact. And in the West, it seems to be that games for entertainment are by far the biggest and the most prominent ones, whereas games for impact, they are considered to be boring. And like a lot of people would even claim to say educational games are not games, they're just pretending to be games, like they're just wannabe games. But in Africa, it's actually the other way around. Like if you come to Ethiopia, for example, and the Ethiopian Gaming Association, we are more on the games for impact. Like there is more being done on games for impact. This has to do with simulation, gamification, serious games, educational games, playful design, because we can actually do a lot leveraging the power of games. So, as the Data Gaming Station, we have more than 10 projects working in the field of health, gamifying the health system here, the education system, the agriculture system. There are games being developed for farmers, for example, to help them in becoming a better farmer. So For awareness creation, games are the most ideal platform. So in Africa, when it comes to the African context, we have more uh, games for impact initiatives. That's why like you don't see it in the global phenomena, because the games for impact are specifically designed for a certain niche. So whenever I design a game for doctors, I'm designing it for doctors in Ethiopia who are going through a specific issue, and I want to pass a specific message towards them. So that might not adhere to every doctor in the world or any other person outside the medicine realm. So this is one phenomena that's really on the rise in the African context. When it comes to games for entertainment, yes, there are studios like uh, there are even consortiums. For example, I'm also one of the founders for an initiative called Inter-Africa. It's a Pan-African gaming initiative that spans across 16 African countries. And we have communities in these 16 African countries, and we explore the concept of uh, what it means to be a game from Africa or an African game, because there is a since we are latecomers to the whole digital space. If you look at a lot of studios, they fall into the trap of underestimating what it means to be an African. So a lot of game designers, whenever they think of an African game, what they would do is they would just take Temple Run or Candy Crush, and they would just make the character black, and they assume it's an African game. But if you look at games, and if you actually know about game design, the whole notion of game mechanics, because if you look at a game, it kind of gives you an insight into who made it. For example, if you look at chess, if you like to play chess, even though chess was created in India, it was made a game by the British people. And when you play chess, it takes you into a portal where you see the medieval times in Europe. You have this hierarchy, you have a king, a queen that are so powerful. You have the bishop like next by, like, so it's actually a storytelling platform, and it's a signature of the society it creates. If you go to Asia and if you play Go, you see the Asian lifestyle and the Asian essence in it. Like you never see like a pawn or a king or a specific hierarchy in that game. That shows you a specific culture, which is associated with the East, which is more of a territorial expansion and less in this social hierarchy system. So it gives you a glimpse into the society itself. So games are just more than just games. They are also
Yes.
a mirror into. So like what we were working on with the whole Inter-African initiative was we're trying to uh, conceptualize what it means to be an African. So we made
Yeah.
a couple of games, and they are online. You can go on interafrica.org and you can actually check them out. And the claim is if you play it, you can actually have the essence of what it means to be an African. I don't know if any of you have ever played Mancala or Awale. These are games that were 2,000 years ago made in
Oh.
Africa, and you play them, and there is no, for example, sites. Like there are no sites in the game, or there are no ownership, because like Africa is more of a communal lifestyle. We live like together. Like we have this we over the I. So this actually reflects on our day-to-day activity, including our game. So the new games that are coming out are in a way like that encapsulate the essence of what it means to be an African or to live in Africa. And this is something that's coming and emerging from the African gaming scene. Yes, games from Africa is different, as in like lifestyle in Africa is different. So these are typically what's been going on the gaming scene in Africa in the past, let's say a decade or more.
Okay, thank you. So we're getting or coming back to this word education, which is very important. Alice, maybe I would like to hear more about your thoughts, about education and also the possibilities in this gaming world in our education system.
Keep that thought. Keep that thought. I just
Mhm.
want to interrupt because we're going to give away the code. I actually
Okay.
published it already in the chat, but here it is for everyone else. The code is get Illuvium, and you need to go to app.3air.io and enter it there. And by the end of the this AMA, we'll be drawing 10 lucky winners that'll get access to Just to give a bit of a perspective, there are 2 million people that are waiting to play this game, and you
Wow.
can be right one of the first ones in.
Okay, this is a beta version and absolutely a great opportunity to be a part of it. Thank you, Sandi. I hope you did get the code and you did. Oh, there it is again. Opportunity to write it down. Okay, so Alice, if we go back to your thoughts about the gamification aspect of our education system.
Yes, well, I think it's actually a very exciting time to be in the Web3 space with the potential that education and gamification of education actually brings. Yeah. Because here we are looking at areas where students can actually be able to learn progressively. They can interact with content in a practical way, yeah, depending on the particular skill that is actually taught, right? And if you look at Web3 space, let me start with Web3 before I break into know how it integrates into the normal education system. But we know Web3 actually is more or less skill based, yeah? So new careers are actually stemming out of the Web3 ecosystem, yeah? New jobs, the future of work is actually stemming out of the Web3 ecosystem, where you can actually learn a course. Yeah, it might take a day or two for you to learn that particular course, get certified as a professional actually after that learning, and be able to join a community where you can practice the skill that you've learned and you already start earning. Yeah, so depending on the particular skill that you've actually learned, and all this learning actually happens on the blockchain. Yeah, you even get paid via crypto or digital assets. Yeah, depending on the particular task that you're performing. So I think the gamification of education actually brings a very interesting concept, yeah, where students can even hold NFTs, right? Because that's exactly how we actually have it on our academy. And these NFTs are actually the digital footprints of your learning journey, yeah? So as you progress through your learning coursework, and you earn rewards as you're performing your tests and you're performing certain tasks attached to verify that you've actually learned the skill that you are supposed to learn in that particular coursework, you get rewarded, and this NFT actually proves as your digital certificate, yeah? So from that, there are opportunity gateways that are created even within our ecosystem after you've completed that task and the learning journey, because you have to partner to achieve the goal, because there's so much capacity needed across multiple organizations when it comes to blockchain and Web3. It's a new concept. We know that just a small percentage of the world has adopted it, and yet we also know that within the next 5 years, this percentage is actually going to grow bigger and bigger. So that means there is a gap already in the existing institutions that are looking to transition into Web3. So they're looking for professionals that can actually build on Web3, right? And this capacity can only be built through the right education. Yeah. So these are the opportunity gateways now. After you get your digital certificate, now you're linked to a particular project within a particular partner organization, where now you go and empower that particular team. So now it creates a whole ecosystem where you learn, you get certified, you can prove via the NFT, and now you go to work, right? And then you can even come back as a mentor and curate new content, yeah, depending on how quickly and how faster the space transitions, yeah. Now imagine a future where students who are going through the learning process are actually holding NFTs as certificates to prove that they've actually learned what they needed to learn. Yeah. So these are interchangeable, they're on the blockchain, and slowly this is how the Web3 ecosystem can even be integrated into the normal education system. It's through gamification, and it's also through using NFTs, as verification of your learning journey, and also, like reward cards, basically. Yeah.
There is another thing, Alice. I'm sure we all agree on that. To do all that, gaming, education, everything. On Web3, connectivity is very important. How are you, let's say, coping with these challenges in Africa? Because this is what 3Air is actually doing, connecting the unconnected. How is the situation? How do you see it?
So, actually, very recently, I was involved in the Mobile World Congress discussion, and this was actually a major topic. Yeah, it recently happened in Kigali early last month. Yeah, where now, for the very first time, startups who are in emerging technology were actually brought to the same sitting table with now the leaders who are in mobile connectivity. Yeah, and the mobile communication system. And why was this done? It was done because it was clearly seen that there's a huge gap and a need in as far as connectivity is concerned, especially to make sure that Africa is not left behind in as far as now the digital transformation is concerned. Yeah. So for the very first time, we actually got to sit on the same table with the leaders, industry leaders in mobile connectivity, and speak about our projects, speak about the challenges that our projects are having, the impact that connectivity has in as far as giving accessibility to the end users who would benefit so much from these particular projects that are in emerging technologies, and also to hear out the industry leaders in as far as the challenges they're experiencing, yeah, in as far as the usage gap is concerned, because there is a usage gap, yeah. Connectivity in Africa could be good. However, we have a handful of users, probably because of lack of education, or maybe language barrier, or just they choose not to adopt and connect. Yeah, basically it becomes also a very big challenge for the mobile operators and mobile connectivity service providers to scale and also invest more in as far as connectivity is concerned, until we solve that usage gap. Yeah. And from my perspective, I think in as far as the usage gap is concerned, it's more going back to the community. Yeah, we have to go back to the ground, to the community. We have to get certain community leaders within that space to actually create more education, yeah, to the people, so that the people cannot see connectivity as a threat. However, they can see connectivity as something that actually comes to help them and scale them up economically, give them access to some of the opportunities that the rest of us are having that they do not have. Another challenge is also devices also, because we know not all users can be able to afford, as much as we try and make it very affordable, yeah, as equipment vendors and connectivity providers. The cost of mobile devices also needs to be looked into. Yeah, can we come up with collaborative models, yeah, between innovators and producers of mobile devices? Instead of actually having to charge these users for the mobile devices, can we come up with a model that works, in that maybe we can have applications installed that we know will be of value to these users, and have a revenue share model in place? Or just it's open for discussion, because there's that challenge that really needs to be solved, and both the innovators and also the vendors that are responsible for the manufacture of these devices and distribution of these devices and the sales of it say that this is a challenge that actually needs to be looked into. Yeah, so I think we need to create more collaborative spaces, yeah, and come up with new business models that can solve this problem in the long term.
Thank you, Alice. Sandi, it's always nice to hear, good to hear all those views and challenges, of course, that they're facing in Africa when it comes to connectivity, right?
It is for sure. It's not good to hear, that there are challenges,
Yes, of course.
but it's good to get a perspective, and it's good to educate the people, because if you don't go there, you just don't know. It's so different. It really is, and it's even difficult to understand it when you listen to people. You actually need to go and experience it. There was one thing that I was thinking, asking before, and we were talking about. I think that was even before we entered the live AMA. That Africa is actually leading the mobile adoption. Kind of, they just jumped over the computers and laptops and all of this. So my question more or less was, oh, how does this impact the game developers, in a sense that, if you really want to have a really cool game, for the most of them, you still need to have a really good computer, right?
Yeah, that's true. So maybe I can throw it also to Dagmawi. I think you can take it up. Yeah.
So like I think context is very important. Context is very important. So for example, in the West, let's see, like, how do you game? Like if you look at the gaming scenarios in the West, what will happen is, like, you buy a console, like you go to everyone's house who likes games, and most probably you have a PlayStation or PlayStation, a PS5, or an Xbox, or a Nintendo Switch, right? That's the common phenomenon of like gaming in the West. If you come to Africa, like giving you the Ethiopian context, or if you come to Addis, console games exist, but you don't find them in everyone's home. How it will happen is, it's a combination of the culture and also like the resources, the culture. So in Addis Ababa, like we have more than 4,000 game zones. So like, so how the culture kind of goes past this resourceful, like the resource scarcity is by becoming resourceful, meaning now there will be businessmen who buy a console and set up a small gaming station, and people can actually go there, pay a small amount of money, and game on a console or a gaming laptop. So this is how, like in every society, like you were mentioning about challenge. As a matter of fact, for every like society, for the entrepreneurs within that society, a challenge is always an opportunity. So how a businessman will come in and leverage on that and create still the business model that works for it. So and coming to the mobile industry, like the mobile gaming industry, yes, still now, for the past almost say 10 years, we do purchases, and we never had like internet banking in Africa. We just jumped through it. Like people never even, like, a lot of people never were like went to a bank institute and opened a bank account. That was the majority of Africans. So a majority of Africans were introduced to the banking system through telecom providers. So it's that's how people actually opened their first bank accounts, not in an official banking institution, but in a telecom institution that had a wallet that provided them the wallet service. So, for those who have never seen that realm, they never actually, it's still alien for them. Like if you come to most of the and talk to most of the youngsters in Ethiopia about banks and how banking works, or the whole console gaming, still, it's a huge alien concept, and they will tell you, like, this is more convenient. I have my smartphone 24/7. I can actually nowadays, with the, like, you have a smartphone that have like very high end, and you can do almost whatever gaming formats that you can have all the experiences that an Xbox or PlayStation give you, like, let's say 5 years, 10 years ago. So yes, that's how, like, we are actually jumping through it. And when it comes to internet connectivity, it's still the same issue. Until recently, a lot of internet connectivity was only in hotels or in these gaming stations. So people have to go there, pay a small amount of money, they'll get free access to a Wi-Fi, and they game online, or like they take part in this online gaming. Recently, that's changing because now the mobile and, like, reach is becoming, like, now we have 5Gs in most African countries. Like there are still a lot of countries in the West that doesn't actually have access to that don't have access to 5Gs at the current moment. So yes, like the way the technology is advancing, and the way, like, the whole leapfrogging or jumping into the next ship, Africa is a great example for that. And if you look at the gaming scene, whether from a creator perspective, almost I can say 90% of game studios developed for mobile games, and you almost there are a very small amount of gaming studios that actually develop games for a console, like to publish it on Steam, or even like for a computer gaming. So with the culture, the demand and the culture was a kind of connected. So for every culture, there is a creator that fits the culture's need. And also like the payment modalities. Now it's common in the West to have subscriptions or like pay as you go. Like here the formats are pretty much obvious. We have a lot of freemium models and in-app purchase, which is in-app purchase is a recent phenomenon in the whole gaming scene. But in Africa, in-app purchase is the first phenomenon and the only phenomenon that we know, because we've never had that previous experience. So, in a way, like the beauty of it is like you can say Africa is almost uh, like in the same pace as the West, but kind of you look deeper, we just jumped most of it, and like we just uh, got
Yeah,
together.
but in a sense too, the games right now are becoming a bit global. The online gaming and so on. And for that, if you want to take part, you usually do need to have a piece of hardware that fits to it. And if it's a global game, then it's probably not going to be redesigned for Africa specifically, but Africa will start to need to start adapting to that part also.
To give you an interesting example for that is like, for example, like ping rates. Like so, Africa does it. Like the African internet coverage has still its issue. So, for example, the African gamers when they're playing PUBG with European gamers, there is a huge lag within the online gaming platform. So the African gamers tend to like not become the best players. But that in return, what it made is it made the African gamers very good at playing in a lagging internet connection. So the moment they get the best connection, they become the best gamers out there. So now even for recruiters, you can't take an African gamer who's been playing on a 200 ping or a 100 ping. At the moment you give that player, that gamer, an access to a 20 ping, you have the best gamer out there. So it's like why most Africans are good at running long distance running. So because like it's common to run in Africa compared to the West. So by far, it's kind of a culture here. So if you kind of look at the problem, it's also like on the other side is there you can also always see the silver lining. Yes, you can't just sit there and say like, oh my god, I have a 200 ping. We don't have access to these gaming laptops that are really really expensive. But what people are actually doing is they're not sitting down and crying about their misfortunes. As a matter of fact, they're leveraging on whatever is accessible and disposable for them and making the best out of it. So now, if you look at mobile gaming, it's becoming big, and I can guarantee you in the next 10, 20 years, most greatest mobile gamers are going to be from Africa. And if you look at even the gaming scene, it's a global gaming scene now. Call of Duty is putting a lot of money in pushing Call of Duty Mobile because they are seeing this market and they're seeing the potential it has. Most African countries, like we don't have servers, gaming servers in most African countries. So we're still playing in servers that are found in Middle East or in Europe. And yes, they lose most of the time, but the moment they have access to a server in Africa, they're going to be the best gamers you can imagine. So already most studios have, like, and most publishers from the West have already understood this, and they're actually putting a lot of money in kind of recruiting these gamers. If you look at like Wesco, the World Esports Consortium, they're actually spending a lot of money to kind of start registering African users and get them from when no one is actually marketing for or like looking for gamers from Africa. They're already registering most African gamers. So it's like a huge market
How
that was
big
never.
would you how big would you say that the gaming market is in Africa actually?
Now that's a very interesting question because one of if you look at Zenga is one of the most popular gaming data recording platform, and as a matter of fact, if you look at the data, like you will never find Africa. Like Africa is like just a black continent, and you'll see something like no data there. And now, like that's where we come into place. Like for example, as an Ethiopian Games Association, we have almost a lot of data with regard to the Ethiopian gaming scene. And with our Inter-Africa consortium, we have like almost every ecosystem, the local entities have by far a very interesting numbers. Now, like I can't give you a number for Africa per se, but I can actually tell you about the Ethiopian context, and you can do somehow an interpolation. So we're talking about like 120 million people. So that's a lot of people. That's the third biggest nation in Africa, like the second biggest nation in Africa, and like the I think it's the 10th or 11th from the world. And we have a population of 70% of the population is under the age of 30. So that kind of tells you how much young the society is. And yes, the internet penetration rate, and at the current moment, we're talking about 30% internet penetration. But this 30% might mislead you because like 10 years ago it was 0%. So like the pace of it growing, like we were talking about earlier on, the pace of adoption to technology is exponentially growing. So if you ask me next year, it might be like 80%. So that's actually how it's slipping. So from this, if you look at the smartphone industry, like this, how many kids have smartphones and how many kids are actually playing games? Now, imagine from the 30%, you can do the 70%, and from the 70%, we're talking about 5, 6 million youngsters who are actually casual gamers who just play games for the fun of it. Now, these people were never introduced to the financial benefits of gaming online, and that's where, as an association, we come into play because we are trying to create awareness on, oh, you like to play games, but you can earn the money by playing these games. As a matter of fact, you can represent your country and play abroad as well. So a lot of gamers out there, and even gender wise, like we're talking about like not a huge gap. Like we're talking about 40%, 45% of women gamers and 55% of male gamers. So you can see this democratization when it comes to gaming content. Now the only missing element is yes, there is the access. We're talking from when you look at it from a big population, 5 million as more or less most European countries' entire population. So from this, if you kind of set up the perfect infrastructure in recruiting, training, and getting them into the esports scene or the global earn to play or whatever, like gaming, actual gaming scene, that's a huge pool which you can get a lot of great gamers out of. So that's only for Africa. Now we can do take this and interpolate stuff across 54 African countries. We're talking about 1.5 or 1.3 billion people. And more or less, we all have the same scenario. Like most African countries have a very young population. The internet penetration rate, like the technology adoption, is exponentially growing. I would
So
like,
the opportunity is huge, right? And the gaming studios should be looking more and more into Africa. And
exactly.
you probably the once the technology is there in regards to connectivity and in regards to devices, this will probably skyrocket.
Yeah, it's going to be a disruption. Like
Yeah.
it's going to be a disruption. It's not going to be an evolutionary process because like people are already working in a very lagging infrastructure and like they are doing a lot. And the moment they have access to
And
the like
it's good that it's good that our connections have sub 10 milliseconds latency, so the ping is going to be really good, right?
yes,
And
it's going to
we
be
actually also build out wherever we go. We also build out a data center, so we can host servers there and so on. So
yes. Yes.
that
Now
could be
like Epic
big break.
Games, like Epic Games Unity. I don't know if you are listening to the news, but now like Call of Duty actually set up their first server in South Africa like only a month ago. And until now, because there was no data, everyone assumed okay there was no gaming. But now, like with the whole rise, now like everyone is like running for the Tencent is fighting Epics, and like they're trying to set up like as much servers here as possible. So it's like the same as the Chinese fighting with the Americans to kind of become the best friends, the BFFs for Africa. So I think that the next, like as it's called, the next economic battle is going to happen in Africa. It's like that includes gaming as well and the whole industry as well. And I think yeah.
We are a bit over time, so
Yeah, and this is such an interesting subject. We could just go on, but there are so many themes that we haven't even touched, and maybe this is an opportunity for another AMA and to actually talk about gaming more. Alice and Dagmawi, thank you very much for being a part of this AMA. Thank you for sharing your experiences. And of course, you are really familiar with the situation in Africa, and it was really nice to have you here to tell us more about it. Thank you very much.
yeah. So
Thank you.
we'll do the draw just now at the end. There'll be 10 people that'll draw, but there are 40 people still waiting. So just go ahead and let your communities know they should sign up here. And you know now the AMA code, and the AMA will also be recorded, and you can just watch it on YouTube later on. So there's still time to enter in the next 4 days, and the probability of winning is quite high.
Perfect.
Thank you to both of you.
Thank you for inviting us. It was a lovely
Thank
discussion.
you.
And
Yeah, it was
yeah,
nice having
look
you.
forward to future conversations as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye
Bye.
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 Bye. So, Sandy, we have a draw to do right now. 10 people, I'm sure, are waiting to have the opportunity to play the game that we have introduced at the beginning.
Yes, exactly. So let's see if we can do this. Let me share my screen. Okay. Then I need to open my
Jingle bells,
jingle
Illuvium all
bells.
the
It's
way.
a few days early. Christmas is coming a few days early.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, let me do the first draw. 3, 2, 1. And okay, so let's see. Okay, so that's the first winner, and you'll need to check your wallet. So if the first few and the last part of the wallet is being shown just to preserve privacy, and I'll just click a few of those in. So we have the second wallet, and we have, don't worry, we have your other information that you put in, and will be so you'll be contacted by Illuvium directly on your email, and get the pass there. So I'm just clicking in now 10 winners for today, so this doesn't take too long. So we have now,
We have 6 already, right?
so 4 more. 1,
Woohoo!
2, 3, and 1 more. Okay, so these are the 10 winners, and you can check this also on if you log in into the app. So go to app.3r.io. You can also check some really cool stuff there while you're already there. So you can go to our coverage map. You can check out the coverage map here. You can go to the marketplace and buy a connectivity NFT and just filter it by, I don't know, let me get this a bit bigger. So there you go, you buy a connectivity NFT and then you can send it to a school, connect a school. So there are some things that you can do there. But congratulations to all winners.
Yes, congratulations to all 10 winners, and of course to another 40 that will be coming up in next days. And of course, enjoy playing the game. It looks really, really awesome.
Okay, I see that it didn't show when okay. I stopped sharing now. Okay, good.
Okay.
Cool.
Sandy, thank you. Thank you very much. It was such an interesting subject, gaming. It really is. And I'm so happy that we learned more about it, also about gaming in Africa and
Mm.
everything that it brings. And looking forward to the next opportunity to learn more about that.
Yeah, it's a very connected topic actually to what the 3R is also doing, right? Our one of our pillars there is revenue streams, and games for sure look like might be a potential revenue stream. For sure, they already are. We've seen that in the past, and it's um, it's very much prominent in Africa, and I think it's gonna be really, really big there. Yeah, and it's going hand in hand currently with the narrative in crypto and blockchain, and I'm pretty sure this is gonna be the probably the way for bigger adoption of blockchain.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for being with us, Sandy. Enjoy your staying in Slovenia. Enjoy the holidays. All of you have a great holidays. Have a great Christmas. And we'll be back after Christmas, right, Sandy?
After Christmas, still in Slovenia.
Still in Slovenia. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you for being with us. Stay a part of our communities on Discord, on Telegram, and on Twitter. And of course, subscribe to this YouTube channel so that you will get notifications when we are going live. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.